Hey guys, it's Practical Gaming, and Death Stranding's been out for about a week or so, and I can't lie, I've been playing it literally non-stop since the release date. As you can see, I've been very excited for the release. I have the jumper here, got a little keyring. I'm not sure if you can see that on the camera right there. Got the Bridges hand towel behind me on the chair, and there is a custom Death Stranding t-shirt underneath here as well. So I got a lot of merch, which I all got from the Death Stranding experience in Camden, where I waited 6 hours in line in the freezing rain to see Hideo Kojima in person, which was an amazing experience. I made some new friends online, which is really cool. We got our own little group chat going on about the game, got some cool merch, and I got to meet my idol. So all in all, it was a pretty good experience. But enough about that, let's get into the game. And from my experience, I can tell why it's going to be probably the most divisive game of this generation. All the people have been talking about in the lead up to Death Stranding has been it's a walking simulator, it's Amazon Prime for video game, and what makes this so good. First of all, it's not a walking simulator, but to be fair, there is quite a bit of walking. But there is more to it than that, and there's a lot more to this game than just delivering cargo, and just labeling it like that before you've even played the game, first of all, is very disrespectful to Hideo Kojima. And to that end, I'm going to go over the 3 things that I believe make Death Stranding such an amazing gaming experience. So, let's get into it. Firstly, the story and world building. Kojima is known for having very strange and out there ideas, but his world of the Death Stranding is by far the most beautiful and the most utterly insane. Now I'm going to try to do this without being massively spoilery, but if you follow the game enough, what I'm about to tell you is kind of well known anyway. The gist of it is America, or the UCA, is broken up and disconnected and isolated, and it's your job as a porter to reconnect and make deliveries to bring everyone back onto the network. The reason for all this comes down to the Death Stranding. The world of the living and the world of the dead is muddled together, and the BTs roam the world freely, which has caused people to cower in fear and stay in shelters. When you die, you let off this stuff called chiromatter, and you start to go necro and turn into a BT, which causes a void out, blowing up the surrounding area unless dealt with properly. If you have a thing called dooms, you're able to detect and even see them, but not everyone has it, so to detect the BTs, you use BBs or bridge babies, 28-week-old babies extracted from a still mother, which help connect you to the other side. So in a nutshell, you play as Sam, a porter with low-level dooms, and you use your BB to detect BTs, traverse America, connecting people and making deliveries to help make America whole again. This is a lot, I know, but this is about as much as I can tell you about the story without completely ruining it for those who haven't played it. And the story does grow on you a bit by bit as you go through the story, and the all-star cast that they have for Death Stranding is a big part of that. Norman Reedus, Leah Seydoux, and best boy Troy Baker, who's probably the best voice actor I've heard in gaming like ever. They all do such a good job with their characters, and they sell it really well, and you can really feel the emotion in their voice when they're speaking. And I'm constantly making theories about each of these characters as I learn a bit more about them and I get through the story a bit more. And while the story is convoluted and very confusing, the scenario and the desolate broken world you're put in is really fascinating. They've built this world where even though the situation is dire, the skies are grey, timefall is falling and death is literally all around you, there are some really gorgeous moments and landscapes throughout that make you feel really good to be walking around in this world. When you're in the open world, there are a lot of parts of the game that are deliberately there to slow you down, which I'll get into later, and I'm fine with that because I enjoy scenery, I enjoy lighting, shadows, mountaintops, rivers, contrasting sci-fi with the natural environment, wide camera angles to compile all this together. It's the same kind of feeling I got from Shadow of the Colossus, and that is one of the main reasons it's one of my favourite ever games, because I just loved the scenery and exploring the world. Now if that's your thing, then this game is for you, but if it's not, then you're going to find the journey from going from A to B very, very stressful. Which brings me on to the core gameplay of the game, and I don't know how best to describe it, but in a nutshell, I guess it's mainly about managing time and managing resources. And there's quite a lot of it. You have to manage how much cargo you carry, you have to take care of BB, you have to keep your balance, look after your boots, and that's not even half of it. On top of that, you have to take care of Sam, look after your health and stamina, deal with timefall in certain areas, watch out for BTs and mules who try to steal your cargo, and all of these pale in comparison to that one tiny rock in your path that makes you lose your balance and drop all your cargo. And if you don't manage these things, you'll lose health, balance, stamina, and make your journey just that much harder. Now this all sounds very tedious, and if you don't prepare yourself then it can be, but fortunately almost everything that can go wrong with your journey, there's always a countermeasure to it, so there's nothing that gets in your way that can't be dealt with. Whether it's building roads, getting exoskeletons, or building structures like generators and zip lines to rapidly accelerate your delivery time. Now a lot of these improvements are gained through the story, but can only really be properly upgraded if you go the extra mile and do those side missions, which is good because at the start it felt like, well, what's the point of me actually taking a detour? But if you want to make your journey easier, then it's definitely worth doing. Now this gameplay is littered with things designed to get in your way, but what most people wanted to see prior to the release of Death Stranding was the combat. And well, it's there. I mean, it definitely takes a huge backseat to the rest of the gameplay, whether it's fighting mules or whether it's dealing with BTs. But again, the combat is managed, especially when dealing with BTs, in the sense that you lose blood with each attack, so you can't just discriminately attack everyone you see. But what I like about this is that each mechanic, or well, most barring that whole thing with Clifford Unger, relates to the story in some capacity and is not shoehorned in the game to appease fans. But what I finally love about this game, to sort of counter that point I just made, is that Kojima did so well to make a game that fans would definitely appreciate. There are so many references throughout that relate to Metal Gear Solid, to Ludens, and I don't think I've ever seen a game break the fourth wall so many times and not have it be overly cringy. You can tell Kojima made this with the idea of, I like all these different things, I'm just going to put it all into one game, which normally wouldn't work, and the concept is very strange on the face of it, but it makes the game stand out to almost be in its own genre. You really can't put this in a box and call it what it is because it's so unique and different to any other game that I've ever played, which is why I understand why some people wouldn't like this game. Look, the game is slow, it can be very tedious at times, and it's all centered around deliveries, which in this world for some reason seems to be the be all and end all of absolutely everything. But it all depends on what you value in your gaming experience. For me, I value story, imagery, suspense, an interesting world, lighting, effects, and this game has pretty much all of that and then some. I enjoyed playing it so much that I've literally not even touched any other game in my backlog, and I wouldn't be playing it this much if I didn't genuinely love every minute of it. Now I haven't finished it and it's going to take a while to do that, but I can already tell that Death Stranding is probably going to be one of the best games of the year and definitely one of the best games of this past generation. Well, that's it for me. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe, and make sure to leave a comment down below about what your guys' thoughts are on Death Stranding. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.